Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back as we get ready to kick off again the CCL MW2 launch tournament. I'm very excited to get into this, Andy. We've been waiting. We've got all the prep. Now it's just a matter of how this one's going to play out for us and see exactly, again, how these teams are going to be able to perform on stream. One of our first looks at seeing how they kind of come together here in 4v4.
Yeah, again, that's always the question that we have during these kickoff tournaments. I feel like ever since I've joined the College COD League, dating all the way back to BO4 and casting that Modern Warfare 2019 kickoff tournament, that's always the question. Where do a lot of these individuals stand? We know that there's a couple grinders out there for some individuals. It's going to be quite telling, again, to see how they do fare on these maps in 4v4.
Absolutely. And well, we do also have a sponsor for the event here for you guys. Overall, I mean, we have to give a really big shout out to the Navy for, putting on an absolute banger of a show today, making sure that we're going to be able to do what we do. So it is a huge thank you to them. And if you are wondering, the Navy offers more than 60 career fields in the leading edge areas such as nuclear engineering, special warfare, cryptology, intelligence, and information systems management. There are also enlisted careers paths in fields that are not widely associated with the Navy, including music, journalism, culinary arts, marketing, and law enforcement, and of course, what we all love, esports. So make sure you guys go over and check out the Navy and see exactly if there's something that you might want to do. But leading back into what we have coming up here, Andy, our map set. This is what we've been excited for. We've been hyped up about this because we have not got to see some of these maps play out, and there it is. I mean, I'm looking right at Crown Raceway. I know we got Hotel first and Ambassador second, but we finally get to see this map.
Yeah, the Crown Raceway it's so pretty, right? I mean, it's very vibrant. It's very loud when you're actually on the ground hearing the cars just whizzing right past you. But it also plays really well. Also, what a lot of people are probably noticing, we are not playing control throughout these best of fives. It is a second hard point there for map number 3. But yeah, I mean, maps 3 and 5. I honestly, I never really. I try to stray away from this cliche, but I hope this goes map 5 to see that Search and Destroy on Crown Raceway. I want to be very selfish on this broadcast. I'll be quite candid with you, Austin. I think this map set is awesome. It's going to be able to showcase, a lot of different individuals, whether they're forcing the 3AR meta, whether they're forcing something that is technically off meta or even GA'd, because again, as far as the rule set is concerned, we're not playing with the same CDL version 1.1 or whatever 1 point odd number that it is right now. So we might end up seeing some STBs. We might see some 74Us. Triple AR, Quad AR might honestly all be there with that one Vaznev just to be a lurking, poking, prodding SMG. All very viable on all 5 maps that we have here in our set.
Yeah, I think that's actually like the really interesting point that you bring up, because we've been hearing, at least, at the highest level, that a lot of teams have been running, 4 ARs in some instances, which means like, are we going to see, some of that, like maybe like slower kind of setup gameplay? Is it going to be really difficult to actually get the breaks in? Are we going to see, multiple smokes because you're allowed to use them? I mean, there really is just a lot of question marks, but I think that's kind of the beauty of having a really early tournament before you start getting like a crazy GA list in. It's like, all right, let's just experience the game as is. Let's see how it plays out for us. So it's very much going to be a good time. And of course, for our very first matchup, we do have UTC going up against St. Clair College. And I know those St. Clair boys certainly have been putting in a lot of work. So we'll see if, some of it does pay off. I know Aaron, at least somebody out there that is always very passionate about making sure that team is up to par. They're putting in, all the necessary time behind the scenes. And we'll see exactly if they can continue to go on this fourth path in the upper bracket versus UTC or not.
Yeah, I mean, for the Saints out of St. Clair, it's interesting, again, talking about those familiar faces that are returning specifically for St. Clair College. And there are 2 that immediately jump off the page, and that's both Brandon, but specifically is Priestley. Now, Priestley, back in Columbus when we were on LAN, was absolutely frying. It was a total menace. Everybody was singing their praise. Chris Radio comes to mind, and same for Kev Fame was also sitting there saying, like, Priestley's the real deal. And I think in a game, specifically for Modern Warfare 2, with the pace is kind of slowed back a little bit, especially comparatively to Vanguard being boots on ground. I think that Priestley's going to be a player that you have to watch out for. Now, on the other side, for the Mocs out of University of Tennessee at Chattanooga, well, there's, of course, one individual that we always have to talk about. We always end up talking about Red Chase. Obviously, this is not playoff Red Chase. This is kickoff Red Chase. He might still be a massive menace on the map, but some other players surrounding Red Chase on this UTC team. It'll be awesome to see how they kind of fare together.
Red Chase, let's see what we can be able to kind of bring us some kind of playoff gameplay that we're used to seeing or not. But either way, Priestley, the man you mentioned, already off to a nice little start, gets the first kill. But Slim and Red Chase doing a good job clearing up quite a bit of space. But it will be UTC that are at least locking in some of this early time and a bit of a setup around the hill.
Yeah, this is actually one of the very few hardpoint maps that you're probably going to be looking at, saying that you want to spawn on the P3 side just because you do get in the atrium very, very fast, but it's very hard to keep that contested, especially when you do have players inside of the double archway just beating you with M4s. And it seems at that moment of time, the Mox at a UTC recognizing they're lower than 20 seconds within the current hardpoint, trying to hit the flank, getting back over by the C-Dom, trying to flip the spawns. Unsuccessful so far.
Red Chase, really big in this position. How many players could he come away with? He's going to pull off the trigger discipline. Doesn't find that first kill, and unfortunately will end up dropping. And now the push in the back will also be shut down. So far, so good for St. Clair Saints on the rotation here. They have a lot to catch up on. And now their next break attempt about to come through. 4-man flood, all coming through the statue area. Gunfights, very difficult to win. And just look at the back and forth. Beautifully done here. Priestley still lining up a few more. Red Chase tries to get in, but he's denied once again.
Yeah, without getting Blaz out from that back street area, you're never going to be able to really break up the monotony that is these spawns. And St. Clair just absolutely flourishing in this P2 hardpoint at the current juncture of time. UTC still trying to find the best way to work their way in. Over by the clock, unsuccessful. Over by the front lobby, also unsuccessful. You got to chalk it. 15 seconds remaining in this hardpoint. Hold the line, and then rotate over towards new.
Rotation is just about everything when you talk about this map, because you can see some of the setups. Next one we're going to inside of kitchen, just really close quarters. A lot of corners you're going to have to check for. But Brandon here on the force spree, dead silence going to be used. Let's see if he can try to get in with a couple kills or maybe influence the back. It's a big gunfight, but he's not ready for it. Cardinal going to be able to take him out, but shots over the top are good. 5 spree now. Was able to get himself in. 45-34, huge time if St. Clair Saints can break in early, but it will be the spawns in the back that flip out, and already a very nice transition into the new hill.
Yeah, I mean, say what you will, Brandon unsuccessful with that dead silence push, but he completely opens up the space for the other 3 players to either hit through pantry or the side door, and St. Clair work their way in for the close spawns. But UTC quickly in contesting this from the front. Actually, this is a very viable hardpoint to do this. There's so many head glitches around the area. You see right there, Slim just abusing the one over top of the at least one of the tables, but realize we'll end up taking them down. 15 seconds remaining on the clock. This is again that one point in time the UTC will chalk the rest of this scrap time, try to set themselves up for the rotation, because this bar hardpoint, Austin, yeah, this can become a money hill if you play it right.
Absolutely it can. I mean, getting into the back can be so difficult, and just that bar heady that you can kind of play on can be really difficult, and you're already seeing some of the min-map control. Red Chase going to be able to spot one, but oh man, what a shot that ends up coming through. Was able to take him out, now 8-4. So, 69-51, UTC need to try to mount at least a little bit of points here, try to close that gap. And you can see the stuns and nades just pouring in over the top. Brandon able to find the double. Red Chase now set up in the corner. One more gunfight ahead of him, but he'll also end up dropping.
Now, the flood, the team shots, everything's so good, but a teammate's not going to help out your cause here if you are the Saints. Now, you're keeping this contested. You also have Slim in desk control if you're UTC. This is the power position, but you got to win the gunfights over by the staircase and on the side of bottom bedroom, and this is not coming up in the Mock's favor. Wonderful break yet again, keeping it contested, keeping their lead alive are the Saints.
Solid job. 15 seconds should end up going over to them unless we see one last hit for scrap, and that is going to be the decision off screen here for UTC. But meanwhile, everyone else more interested in the rotation, and numbers are now here for St. Clair, and it just feels like they've had numbers on a lot of these rotations and a chance now to blow up the setup right away. Shots need to come through. Let's see if he can try to find the first gunfight. Everyone patiently waiting, and that's going to be a huge one for Slim. Can he find the second? No, we can't. The trade is there. Back and forth we go. Setup looking solid, at least initially, but it will be broken up, and both teams still have a 50-50 shot at getting control here.
Yeah, 2 big things about this restaurant hardpoint. You want to make sure that that wine hallway is 100% locked down in your favor. That's where you're seeing Slim off screen trying to at least dictate the pace over there. Realize has been having himself quite a game. 10-6, 10-7, 11-7 from top to bottom. Everybody from the Saints completely outslaying UTC, but the Mox are finding themselves some life here on this P5 hardpoint inside of the restaurant. They will take the lead for the first time.
They certainly will. Huge hill. And now you can see everyone on the minimap right now for St. Clair just saying, all right, we're going to chalk that one up. We're going to start to make a rotation. One player tries to make an individual play, slow down some of the players here for UTC. But the setup is now in a very close hardpoint, you have to say. Back and forth we go throughout this hotel map, but now we'll see the final hill. Hill number 6, and that's already a very clean feed for St. Clair. Exactly what you want to see. Try to close this lead and get it back in your favor as Realize snaps on another.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. Top catwalk position, you're zoning players over in the atrium as well. Once you see that there's not another challenge to come out in about a 2-second time, you know exactly where they're coming from. Brandon bottom bedroom will line up 2 more. This has been an uncontested 25 seconds to go into the Saints bank.
Brandon's been great so far. Won't be able to find number 3, but he has been slaying out around the point. Priestley now himself 16-8, 3 kills to his name, and the lead once again flips back over to St. Clair. Now a matter of holding 20 seconds, but Slim's got a great flank play. That's one. Priestley not ready. That's the double. Scrap time should be locked in as Slim makes a nice flank play in the back.
And at the end of this first set of hard points, look at what UTC have been able to bring themselves back nearly from the depths. I mean, they were down by a solid 35 or 40 points at one point in time, but they're keeping it really, really close. Just about a dead even game. 4 points is the difference as we go back to P1 inside of the atrium. Now, off screen, you already have Red Chase zoning players away over by the drop clock inside of concessions, but he's not exactly seeing all the challenges in the world. All of UTC are essentially looking at the double arches, and they weren't necessarily ready for the flank to come into couches.
Well, they were not. Priestley says, all right, well, I'm here now. 2 kills for him. We'll be able to get this regen off. No trade comes into play. Despite the slaying power for St. Clair, though, UTC doing a good job of making sure they get the critical kills. And that's kind of the reason we've seen them go toe-to-toe versus St. Clair in a lot of these rotations. But Slim, oh my goodness, he just always finds the angle to get in from behind, and he's going to be able to break in again. He's got some cover fire. Realize we'll be able to move in for 5. Streaks now, potentially a possibility. Just needs to get 1 more, but what a huge kill. Cardinal will shut him down and make sure no streaks are in play just yet.
Rotation over towards New was already looked at. It will be conceded about like 10-12 seconds ago for the Saints. They're really going all in for this P2 stronghold, and we got 2 players at least looking over by the desk, but Slim, again, as you were saying, living up to his name, finding his way into these nooks and crannies, winning these gunfights, as you can now shift your focus over towards the side, in towards the back alley. Sunny to Gunny will at least try to break up these spawns, and he'll actually get Red Chase's spawn a little bit closer, but unsuccessful breaking in for the initial 20 so far.
Oh, nice little prone into jump chow there, but it doesn't quite matter, does it? Everyone else here on the Saints roster will just about win every single gunfight. Now, a bit of a scary moment. 30 seconds left on this point. You don't want to over-rotate. You don't want to give too much of this time away. So can they break in? Slim is going to be able to loosen up the defense just a tad bit. Brandon will recover and will respond with 2 of his own. St. Clair should be able to retake this lead. And once again, Andy, we move back over to P3.
Yeah, this P3 hardpoint, again, you can turn this into a money hill so long as you keep that back half wall in your favor. That is how the Saints broke it the last time. You were able to get 1 player in towards the back, and then you were able to manifest a push through the side door, a little bit slow rolling. You see Brandon all the way at the bottom left side of your minimap, trying to win that very long-range gunfight from the top garage all the way over by that Godheady where Cardinal's located at.
Well, UTC, they've been so good at getting the critical kills. Can they do it again? First kill is good. Slim ready for the second. Priestley able to get himself in. But can they contest? Can they hold on? Trophy systems are in. Really difficult to maintain any real control. And you can see that from Priestley's POV right now. The stuns, the nades, constantly flooding inside of the room, making it very difficult. And so far, UTC have come away with 30 seconds, looking for 30 more. Brandon able to dive in. Will find one in the back. Tries to pop up. It will not happen. Back and forth. Both teams contesting. These gunfights are huge. Red Chase needs to find the second, but he can't. He's shut down.
Shut down, but still, the job is done. Now, you'll probably see another lead swap, but you're okay with this if you are UTC. Look at the rotation over towards New. They're setting themselves up inside the bar, but nobody's winning the gunfights over in the main lobby area, so this is going to be a very tall ask for the players that are still alive for UTC, and they delivered the gunfight top bedroom good over inside the lobby, just better. They'll be set up for the initial.
Here we go. Huge break needs to come through right now for St. Clair. This one needs to be a little bit quicker than the last. Trophy systems going out. Cardinal just trying to play his life. Everyone playing quite tight on the hard point, but now shots come through up top. Brandon's been able to enter with 2. Cardinal gets 2 back. 195 to 204 now. St. Clair have been able to break on in. Now it's a matter of holding.
Just a matter of holding from the front specifically, and it can be excruciating to try to do so, but look at all the numbers immediately here for the Saints, looking essentially at the same door, trying to push inside the lobby, unsuccessful, but trades seem to be on point. The Saints cannot deliver. UTC, they will bounce back for the back 15. They'll put themselves just at about 220 or so ahead of this rotation.
Oh man, are we ever getting a treat, Andy? The very first map of the day. I don't know, there's been, what, 6, 7 lead changes? Just too many to count at this point. Red Chase has been able to cut down a couple on the rotation. Won't finish off the second, but still 3 in a row for him. A chance to be able to break in. Here we go. Shots come through. Oh my goodness. Red Chase is snapping. Won't be enough to continue the spree, but he's been able to do enough damage to get his teammates in.
Setup for restaurant here for the Saints. It's not exactly a strong one, but you still have players looking over by the concessions archway. That's a big kill on the Cardinal. One less angle you have to worry about. Now you can shift your focus over towards Wine, where UTC are located at.
219, 224. Shots over the top are good. Sunny to Gunny. Slow start, but a chance to redeem himself here in the final couple hills. Still just needs to play his life, but all this time is so critical here. Brandon has just found 2. It's not looking good. UTC unable to really find this break. A chance maybe to still fight for some of the scrap time, but this is critical time here for St. Clair, Andy.
You have to break. Cardinal needs to go big over inside Wine. He goes down. There's still 2 players here. You need to overwhelm them if you are the Mox. They will be successful in doing so, but there's only 5 seconds left inside the hill, and that is exactly the idea that Saints had in mind. Put a player to the rotate over towards you. They can win it there.
Here we go. St. Clair just need to hold. UTC just need to break. Let's see who's going to be able to take this very first map in an absolute battle. And St. Clair look like they have the setup, they have the zoning, and they have the win. Map number 1 does not disappoint, and neither does St. Clair as they start the series off 1-0.
I mean, you would truly feel like if you wipe away just the 250 to 234 scoreline and you just look at the stats that are about to be on the screen from top to bottom, from KD ratios, I mean, St. Clair should have absolutely ran away with this, you would feel like, in the early goings of things. But it was, I guess, like the grit, the tenacity coming through from UTC, just to make sure that they were putting themselves in a better position to maybe try to find easier gunfights, find those challenges that were required for them to be able to get those 35, 40 points on Money Hill, such as P3 within that second set of rotations, and as well keeping it contested there on P4 for both sets of hard points that we did have when we went over towards the bar area. That is the teamwork, the cohesion that you can absolutely rely on when it comes down to Modern Warfare 2, but when you have a guy like Priestley that is dropping bombshells and numbers, you got Brandon that's finding 2 pieces on rotation inside the hardpoint, keeping it contested, it becomes so much more difficult to flip hotel hardpoint in your favor.
Well, Andy, I got good news for you. We got a lot more hard points left in this best of 5 here, and I hope we get to see a lot more of them. Too many lead changes, but we'll take a look at the scoreboard. And as you mentioned, I mean, it really was just, complete dominance in the slaying department for St. Clair. But, I mean, only 16 points separating the two, I think, really does show that UTC were doing a really solid job for the majority of that map, finding the critical kills, the important breaks, and at least we're really good around some of those setups that they were rotating early to.
Yeah, you can see the force of pace differential about halfway through that hotel map number 1, specifically from UTC, because you have players, again, like Priestley and Brandon that were just being an absolute nuisance, finding these timings, working these angles and these flanks to make sure that UTC never really had the setup that they were looking for. It actually forced Red Chase to pull out a Vaznev, to pull out an SMG more often than not, to try to help out the Mox to pick up the pace just a little bit, whether it's on rotation, if not push that line of scrimmage when they were inside the hard point that much further forward. But it felt like it was all for naught there at the end of the day. Again, I want to say that they almost got outslayed. I'm no mathematician scientist guy, but it looks like that they got completely outslayed by about like maybe 40 kills. Maybe that might be a little bit of an over-exaggeration, but it certainly does feel like it. But that 16-point differential would probably be quite telling for the Saints if they go back and study this VOD ahead of whatever tournaments do come their way in the near future, to be able to really realize, look, we got so many more kills. Why are we not generating more time?
Absolutely. Priestley and Brandon, I believe, as well. 24, 25 non-traded kills. Just basically piecing up everyone. No one able to really trade them in a lot of those map movements that we were seeing. So first map is good, but coming up, of course, we will now move over to the Search and Destroy. This one will take place on Ambassador, and I think this one is a little interesting, I think, for the majority of the community, Andy. It's very difficult to capitalize on the attack because you're essentially kind of pinned in the back, and both teams can watch the crosses. So smokes and snipers are basically critical when we talk about this map in Search and Destroy.
Gotta talk about that rule set again. I mean, snipers are 100% in play. So, I mean, that quick B plant that we were seeing in some of the kickoffs, specifically like that Boston Breach Next event, that quick plant over by B, is absolutely on the card. So long as your nades are on point to go over by the tennis court, you get maybe a sniper, if not an AR, just to line up the beam that is going to be top AC. You can get that plant on the B very quickly, and it becomes very difficult to be able to get that B site back into your favor defensively where you're trying to retake the bomb actually being planted. If you do have to worry about a player inside that corner on the very top left side of the mini-map, on the upper side of the tennis court, top AC, top PD, all these specific positions that is, if an offensive team does get that bomb planted quickly, it almost becomes a fortress of solitude is that B plant. A-bomb, not necessarily the bomb site of choice. Very difficult to be able to work your way across that P2 lane, though it is completely viable. I'm sure that we'll probably see both of these two teams jostle for a lot of position through the middle of the map.
Absolutely. I'm almost curious, too, if teams are willing to pull out, two snipers. I mean, we didn't really see any 74Us or, any AUGs kind of, through that first match, so they might be respectfully playing GAs against one another. It's hard to say. But I know that, at least in my experience, I've certainly seen teams run more than one sniper, and it's kind of just how you have to play the map. You have to be very kind of wary on where you're pushing and just the decisions that you're making, and it's really hard to kind of work off trades sometimes because of the high ground that defense kind of just naturally has. But those cross map buildings from AC to the windows, certainly going to see a lot of big plays there. And I feel like whenever, this is kind of something we talked about a lot during Modern Warfare 2019, is when you have dead silence, you're kind of almost forced to try to make some plays, right? It's like, okay, I have Deady, now I need to try to do something with it, not just sit back. And that's kind of when you see those push through the smokes, see those maybe fast hits into the double doors right beside B to get early control, get up top, force the guys out of AC, kind of similar plays like that. I mean, big thing is just always making sure you're using the dead silence in great use.
It's interesting, too, right? Because, I mean, you talk about, I guess, like, the specific comparison that we do have from Modern Warfare 2019, waiting for that dead silence charge and then making the play happen. But here in Modern Warfare 2, 2022, it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I would say, to try to force those plays to be happening, especially with the ADS timing. When you do have your AR flexes with that M4 in hand, popping dead silence, you do have to be a little weary. You can take space quickly and silently, sure, but that ADS time, if you run into like a Vaznev around the corner, you're probably going to lose that gunfight more often than not. So, yeah, you're probably going to end up seeing this if this is your first Modern Warfare 2 tournament that you are watching here, collegiate or any competition-wise. I will go ahead and let you know that the first 20 seconds for every search and destroy round might just be null and void. You might see some poke prod affairs, but everybody's going to be waiting for that dead silence charge, maybe even that one trophy system to try to make a play happen.
Yeah. Most certainly the case. Yeah, the trophy system is the big thing too, right? It's like that one player on your team has to kind of be the sacrificial lamb. It's like, okay, I'll run the trophy system for you guys, right? But you're really not moving whatsoever. You're just kind of throwing the trophy in, setting up your teammates, and then you're trying not to move because if you do, well, you're going to be heard from just about a mile away. So it can be pretty difficult to kind of be that player at times. So kind of always the slower kind of AR player that will typically run that for you. But yeah, I think that's certainly something we might see, especially around that B-bomb. And we talked about the other side. I feel like the other side is pretty difficult to break unless you can just somehow just beam the guy like off the truck or kind of over by the vans wherever he's playing.
Yeah.
But almost like attacking that A side, Andy, I feel like it's chalked unless you're like in like a 1v2 or there's just less numbers on the map or it's just too easy to control.
Yeah, you're not hating A-bomb off the rip. That's for sure. I mean, if you do and you find success in doing so, then you're winning one of the harder pillars of the search and destroy map, and you're getting in the other heads their heads rent-free at that point, worrying that maybe we should send two players over towards A. But you're right to highlight the vans that are located over inside that parking lot. Head glitches galore, but also the ability just to completely implode from the car's explosions. Shout out to the border crossing map with certain Semtexes to come over and blow up those vans. Yeah. But 1v odd situations, 2v2s, that's where you could probably end up getting that kitchen side in your favor and then maybe trying to get that upper catwalk area as well over on the parking lot side. Maybe try to get that A-bomb planted, stretch it a little bit so that way you can see it from P2. I have seen some creativity when it comes down to an A post-plant situation, but off the rip, I would not expect a lot of players and a lot of teams, even here in College COD, to want to opt in for an A push immediately.
Well, here we go. Let's see what both teams have set up and what strategies they have in place for us. Slim's going to make his way right over to the B site. He's going to set up watching those double doors, and the bomb will go down. So still everyone alive except for that snipe that comes through for Sunny. 4v3 now on the retake.
Yep, there's that snipe. Back tennis courts, quick plant. Orange control is here. Brandon needs to make a play out here. Only so much time to do so.
Brandon just trying to hope for info. How about that? Two players laying down, one watching over them up top in AC. Yeah, there's no way Brandon's ever getting away with more than one there.
It is clinical. I mean, that B push, right, especially with the sniper rifle in the hands of Sunny. Watching that top AC area, gets the snap on the backside of the tennis courts. And, I mean, the moment that you try to recontest that longer line of sight, Sunny is just holding it. You see that glint, you're probably dead, waiting to respawn going in towards the next round. And again, I guess like the Navy-esque setup that was just outside of the orange door. You're not really going to get away with highway robbery when you got a player laying prone and a player standing up waiting for that challenge to come through. So, quick offensive round coming through. Sunny's actually going to play this back ramp area. Almost gets the timing with the snipe, but the util is out. You know this is a B push.
Oh, look at this play. Brandon doesn't expect the second, but there should be a trade, and there is. So, beautifully done here, breaking down the site. Now the Saints going to be able to get themselves in a really solid position to get this bomb down. They know that Sunny has been the sniper, so he's only going to have a pistol to really work with up close.
He's popped that silence, too. Some shots already coming through from toilets. That was actually Blast that did see Sunny cross. That silence is about to run out. You got to make a play happen. One player on the palm tree this round has completely fallen by the wayside. And I think if Sunny puts on a nice phase montage, we might be able to see a clutch round coming all the way through. But at this point, it's probably just egregious to try to make something happen. Maybe just sit there on the 2, picks up an M4, trying to make something happen.
So someone's going to come to him, but that's not the case. Finally, Chal's out. Gunshots are good, and wow, St. Clair just really strong with initial setup so far. Offense the whole way through here, Andy.
Yeah, and I really like that take from the Saints. You know, as far as an offense is concerned, Sunny showed that sniper rifle in the opening round here on Embassy. So you smoke the cross from ramp, damn well knowing that, hey, if he is going to be playing ramp, we're going to smoke him out. Of course, almost gets the timing to get one on said cross, but if you just have an AR of your own, watching it from your tennis court side, looking at that top AC, well, then Sunny can't really contest you from any angle. So you get Brandon in a very close-knit place. Obviously didn't expect the second one, but even things up, one offense apiece here.
Well, pretty much sticking to the standard strategy that is Embassy. Try to get over to B, get the bomb down quick. Place, though, we'll be able to find one, and that's going to leave one isolated. So Red Chase really going to need some support here, but he's not going to get any. So 2 kills end up coming in. Realize in the back, we'll be able to get one more, and, well, now it's a 1v4 here for Cardinal.
And you have no idea where Cardinal's at because Cardinal hasn't really shown much besides that Semtex that just came out from top window. So the moment he jumps through inside the top office, he will get that kill, but bomb is being defused. The wall bang spot, I don't think that that's actually a thing. But you gotta appreciate the effort, right? I mean, it was certainly there, but very interesting offensive attempt. I will say that much from UTC. Very big adaptations defensively from the Saints, but the biggest issue was that nobody was essentially watching that very long cross, whether you're playing from the tree, watching that mid lane. I mean, you essentially just allowed Realize to get the freest flank this side of the Mississippi to come all the way across the offensive spawn and get behind enemy lines for free.
Really like how they're taking away space right here. St. Clair have been fairly solid. Opening shots again. Sunny, of course, going to let the enemy team know that he does have the sniper in hand again. But this time it's more of a fake. Just going to throw that smoke out initially, not cross. And Red Chase is going to slow work into bathrooms, and we'll be able to find that first blood.
Crouching, going prone underneath that toilet window is just so godlike. Brandon pushes up towards the site, trying to even things up, but it will be Priestley that finds that straight 3v3.
Hello! Oh, nice little jump chow. Slim gets in, gets the kill, and gets out. Realize desperately looking for that trade, but don't think he's going to be able to find it here. Now just needs a slow walk over to the site. Dead silence almost available. Priestley, who is on 4, could also start working towards some streaks. You'd love to be able to get yourself some streaks on this map, but it's a matter of, are they going to be able to get this bomb down here? 30 seconds on the clock. Realize he's going to try to stick it.
I love this from UTC. Play the retake. You have the numbers. Slim still up top. It's going to make a lot of noise. He has a trophy, actually, here with the Vaznev, so no dead silence play for the retake.
Kind of just got to hope for an individual 1v1, but off screen, Realize actually goes all the way to the back here. Meanwhile, shots now in the staircase, in the stairwell. Priestley's able to slip away, and now time's becoming a factor, but that's going to make it a little bit easier. Realize does not win his one-on-one. Priestley now in a real difficult position here. I think that bomb might be stretched. Now going to stick it. Red Chase on the defuse. Shots over the top from Priestley. Not going to be enough to take him off the bomb, and there it is. Defuse comes through just barely as UTC tie it up at 2.
And Priestley gets a kill there at the end. That's the right call, whether you like it or not, coming through from the Saints. You know, Priestley being on a 4, you already highlighted streaks on this map, whether it's for a retake or whether it's for a post plant, even for the cruise missile, is very good. The ping from the SAE, that much better. But even more so than that, Priestley getting that 5th kill there at that round puts them 1 away from getting themselves that very first streak. And it's going to be a defensive round, so I'm sure that Priestley, who's been playing a lot with the M4, might just go try to recontest, whether it's up top, try to play a little bit longer line of sight. Looks like he might just be coupling along with Brandon over for this B contest. Try to get a bait and switch for that first blood.
Sonny's playing a different game right now in the bushes, and he'll be able to find the first blood, but it's a quick trade. Pistol in hand, Realize gets there, but Cardinal finds 2. And all of a sudden, numbers just start dropping. Priestley, the last one left alive. We talked about him being on the 6. He has now earned the first streak. Can he get the second? He's got 30 seconds to try to find this kill or get 2 in the defuse.
Gonna pop that silence, so Priestley's gonna want to try to make this play happen. Knew that Cardinal was on the tree, has no idea where Sonny's located at, knows that Sonny has the sniper, though. This is going to be a very awkward engagement. Priestley's been shooting pretty darn straight. Sonny missing just a bit on the outside, and Priestley just gonna hop it.
I love this right here. Priestley, no fear, sticking the defuse. Oh, it's a hit marker! Oh, no! Sonny almost able to take him off the bomb with 0.5 seconds, but sticking the defuse, 1v2, what a play for Priestley as he's now fully streaked out.
Shot him in the foot there. You know, steel-toe boots on that soldier really goes a long way. As Priestley stays alive and even finds that 7th kill as well. He's going to be able to get himself fully streaked out of his eyeballs while clutching the round. I mean, you can't ask for a better outcome in these 5 rounds that have been played. You have utility to really try to strong-arm your way through this offensive round. Smokes are out. Red Chase is going to push all the way through. It's a very slow-rolling offense from the Saints.
A lot of control, at least. Red Chase can watch this cross, and if you find Brandon, that would also be the bomb down. But you can see they're playing very slow. I think they're going to use this SAE ping, try to get some information, and then maybe slow work. So, yeah, I think they've used the ping. Now they're going to slowly maybe work over to A. They do have to cut through Sonny, and that is no easy task because he's going to be able to find 1 head, and Cardinal finds a 2nd.
Yeah, so the streaks are now off the table. 2v4. And Brandon, he's playing all the way back where you would assume an AR would be, but the Vaznev is an absolute bullet hose, but it's not going to work from that range versus an M4. Realize has to make a play. Gets stop AC. 38 seconds off the play.
Well, it would be our first 1v4 on the day. Let's see what Realize can do. 3 more to cut through. Okay, 2 more to cut through. 30 seconds to work with. Does have to get this bomb. The dead silence, though, still very active. And, oh, he sees 1 more. Oh! Stun comes out. He's not able to finish him off just yet, but he gets it. 15 seconds now on the clock. The knife in hand. Oh, my God. Oh, it almost happened, Andy.
The moment I saw him go to the shiv, I just thought that it was going to be the 1v4. I thought you spoke it fully into existence. I almost feel like that if the regen came through maybe a second earlier, Realize 100% gets in close proximity to Red Chase. Because I was going to say it when he ended up getting that snap on the Sunny over by the van, that those last 2 players from the box were incredibly and egregiously isolated from one another, being in a 2v1 like that. So very much so in the cards to be clutched up there. Realize, I'm sure, probably sitting there telling his team, I almost had it. UTC back on the offense now. Not straying away from the norm, trying to get this quick plant here at B.
A lot of nades come over here. It could be a little dangerous to drop this, and yeah, Realize is going to be able to actually find one. So numbers now going to be lost for UTC. Here's the little drop down. It will be for 1. Slim able to get 2. 2v2 with a minute on the clock.
Priestley's going to play this long line of sight. You play for the retake here if you are Priestley. You don't want to just give yourself up. And Slim might have been thinking, hey, I got Sonny's Overwatch over here. We have no idea where Priestley's at. I think maybe was trying to either stretch for the bomb plan over by the net of the tennis court, or maybe just trying to get the heck out of Dodge and maybe wrap over towards 8. Either way, it doesn't work. 1v1.
Priestley 8-2. He's been such a huge part of the success we've seen from St. Clair so far. And this massive swing round could determine a lot here for us. But Sonny has now used his dead silence to get to this back position. The bomb, of course, is on B. That's where he's going to have to go. But is he going to spot Priestley up top?
Just got to play the time here if you're Priestley. Sit down. You know the bomb is on the ground. He actually goes back bottom orange. Sonny has no idea where Priestley's located at. They're playing ring around the rosy back over here.
Oh, Sonny's going to play for the kill. I don't know if he's going to try to move for this bomb. He tries, and Priestley says, I know the bomb's down. I'll go back to the same spot I killed your teammate. Says, thank you very much. St. Clair now up by 1.
There's a reason why I talked about this guy. Priestley is the real deal here for St. Clair Saints. It was able to get fully streaked out or to use the ping from the SAE, but is still clutching rounds. The decision-making from this young collegiate athlete is at an all-time high. Again, just fishing out the timing in a 1v2. They catch the first player out trying to rotate away. Slim really thought that he had the space, especially with Sunny overwatching the tennis court side with the sniper rifle nonetheless. Priestley clutches up yet another round. 9-2 for the kid. One round lead here for the Saints, going back towards this aggressive hit.
Incredible stuff here. Streaks also could come in. Lots to work with here, and it's just going to go back to the fast plant for Red Chase says, I'm on to you, and I'm on to you too. Almost on to 3. And already numbers just completely dwindle away here for the Saints. 3 versus 1. Priestley, well, he's used to being the last one left alive. Let's see if he can get through a 1v3.
I'm never counting Priestley out of anything. The biggest issue, obviously, sub 1 minute. Have to recollect the bomb. Sunny's playing the God Heady over here by the van. The van is 100% still intact, so one Semtex and it goes kablooey. You can tell where my PTSD is located out here in NBC, but Priestley's still up top. Maybe just trying to slow roll this. I mean, there's no reason to use streaks, so if you go even going into round number 9, it is what it is. But UTC are just giving Priestley absolutely nothing. Has dead silence to play with, though.
Does have Deddy. Checks the back. 25 seconds. Going to have to basically just force his way into the site. Hopefully beam a couple, and now his position going to be given away. This cross even being watched by Sunny, I believe, as well across the map. So this round should just about be locked up here. Priestley might be able to get away with a kill or 2. Sunny's going to spot him. And yeah, no time to really work with here. You can only get away with kills, and he won't find any.
And that round, 100%, is on the back end of Red Chase. I'm pretty sure that it's 2 smokes that are coming through. You have the first smoke initially from the Saints on offense, covering the cross, and UTC are more than obliged to put a smoke down themselves. And it's Red Chase, again, who feels the necessity to play that AR flex role, pulls out the Vaznev, and uses both smokes to a high value. He pushes all the way through, finds the bomb planter, snaps onto the second, almost got away with the third. And it just really just felt like that good old boxing term that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. That punch in the face is named Red Chase there with the 2-piece.
Sure was. Almost got 3 there. Good plays out of Red Chase in and around this B site. Trophy system going to go down. Still just back to the fast plant here. But actually not this time. Won't drop it immediately. Or rather, it's not him with the bomb. So he will go down. Now 4v3. Cardinal has been taken out of the picture. Realized that our work through mid. He's going to be able to find one. Now a 4v2.
Pops that silence. It's a very loud sound. Now you have no idea where they're going to be located at. Red Chase is all the way in towards the back. He's playing in a 1-for-1 position. The drop down is there from Priestley. The retake is looking so good. You know where Sunny's located at. Absolutely sublime retake coming through from the Saints. They collapse on the play. They isolate every single member that was attempting to set up a crossfire for UTC. And the Saints will put themselves up on map point while they wait for the Deddies.
Very well done. Priestley on 11 kills right now. Realized on 8, these two have just been in full control throughout this search and destroy. As everyone kind of waits to the last second to make sure they charge up their Deddies just as much as possible. And the streaks are still available here, Andy. I mean, this is where you can look to use your closer.
I mean, then they're on offense as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, your biggest adaptation coming forward, you know, what blew up our offense last time around is that we didn't have anybody to deal with Red Chase hitting through the smoke. So you might see somebody try to either bait out that challenge from Red Chase, might try to get a little feisty through the smokes in the middle of the map yet again. But yeah, I mean, the ball is 100% of the Saints' court. Both streaks available. Looks like they're setting themselves up for a slow roll. They're just posted up in PD. Red Chase is thinking about it. You see him on the minimap. He's thinking about pushing through trees, but he's going to take the front door instead.
Nice little off angle here. Priestley going to clear just about everything out. Yeah, this call is certainly going to be to likely call in a streak. See if you can open up one of these sites here through force. But nice little position for Red Chase. He is in the building and does have an opportunity to spoil everything that the St. Clair Saints want to try to pursue. But using a lot of this clock right now, down to about 50 seconds.
I love this from the Mox. You don't have to challenge anything. You just have to wait. The only one that had to hold a very forward and aggressive angle is Sunny, over by that van. And that's exactly what they're doing. This round has completely almost evaporated, but the smoke is out. The push soon to follow, I'm sure.
Info starting to come through now, but we are very low on time. This bomb has not crossed the halfway point. And it looks like it's going to have to be B, but this bomb's still leaning a little bit more over to A. Will a streak come down, or are they just going to force their way in? And look at this, the bomb carrier off screen has now made his way through the building, but Slim just reads him like a book, and now the bomb is in the worst possible position. Numbers here in the way of UTC. One more up close. Slim is going to take it. And, well, no time here in the back for Blaze, as this is going to go round 11.
Wow. I mean, again, there wasn't a whole lot that happened, but that's exactly what needed to happen from UTC, right? You know, you win the previous defense from getting aggressive with Red Chase in the middle of the map. Didn't like what they saw over by Tree, so they just take a 1-for-1 position inside of toilets and then find a nice timing to get on the backside of PD to completely spoil that entire play. And if you're the Saints at that point, you're almost forced to make the play happen. So it's very unfortunate that the bomb carrier had to push inside of Orange, but you really do need to be able to get some semblance of a numbers advantage. Maybe disjointed, to say the least, as Priestley was overwatching it. Didn't have all the help that Brandon inside of Orange, and that bomb just patty cakes to the ground. Still streaks to play with here for the Saints, and they're going back to that same strategy, more or less, just posting up here inside of PD. Brandon playing that longer line of sight, waiting for the challenge. Red Chase lying on their belly, waiting to see if anybody challenges.
Priestley with another ping. Information going to be gifted, and he's going to finally drop this. And let's see if it'll come up with any kills. Right after this, he can use the cruise, but man, would this be a throwaway if the streaks just do not find anything here for you. But here we go. SE over the top. Rains down, but doesn't look like it connects. It up top. Oh, Red Chase loses it. Priestley able to find him, but now the ace site will be cleared out.
I love this. Use the streak, get them all trapped inside, and then you rotate over towards A. Now, Priestley's still up top. He's going to call in the glide, actually. I mean, this missile, I mean, albeit might be able to find some information, it allows the plant to go down.
Tacticals and aids still very much available here. Coming down to 30 seconds, and, well, it's a 1v4 just like that. Slim would have to do something very, very special, and the Saints, I don't think, would let that happen with only 20 seconds on the clock. First gunfight does not even go his way, and once again, it is another banger going to round 11, but it's the St. Clair Saints that are able to edge out here and go 2-0 up here in this best of 5.
Oh, you lost the Hotel Hardpoint by 16. You lose the round 11 Embassy Search and Destroy. I mean, it just feels like the mocks are just right there. But again, there is an X factor or a P factor, I guess it might be. Priestley, 13 and 4, 1,700 damage.
What?
I mean, again, this guy, you felt like he was everywhere, but he wasn't just flying through the map. He was just posting up in the right places at the right time. M4 in hand, sometimes picking up a 9K from the ground, and just really forcing the hand, just picking up the pieces of information that their teammates were giving them constantly through both sides of Embassy. Just wonderfully played out from Priestley, and again, just waited until round 11 to use those streaks. Didn't find all the kills. You know,
Sure.
Obviously information is certainly going to be just as valuable sometimes in Search and Destroy as the kills, but you gotta respect that call. It was B site for 10 rounds straight, and then Priestley calls in the SAE. It traps everybody from UTC inside, and they get that bomb planted over at A and completely exploit a very, very unfortunate and weak setup that UTC had there in the 3v4.
Yeah, I'm glad we're pulling up the scoreboard as well, because I just had to make sure I was hearing you right, Andy. 1,700, that is the number. Oh my goodness. I mean, what can you say, like, more about Priestley so far in the day? It just feels like he has just been completely on top of his game. We saw it in the hard point. We see it here in the Search and Destroy, fully streaked out very early on, getting all those pings every single round with that SAE, and obviously it pays off as they ice up in the round 11. So incredible stuff right now for the Saints, but I mean, there's a lot of great things to talk about on the side of UTC. It's just they haven't been able to ice up in those final rotations, Andy. They haven't been able to ice up in those final rounds. Not to say it's easy when you got double streaks raining on your head, but it's been so close for them. I mean, they've been playing this series very tight.
Yeah, I mean, 5-6 as well as for the first bloods. It's not like UTC were, you know, falling behind. It just comes down to the damage per round that Priestley was really just making sure that they were enforcing from those longer lines of sight. It allowed so much more space, and thus being pressure from the Saints to dictate the pace from such key moments of that map.
Absolutely the case, but 2-0 up. That's the scoreline. The Saints looking to potentially put it away in 3. Maybe we'll get some spicy reverse sweep action. We'll have to see. It is hardpoint coming up, but first we'll have to take a small break. We'll catch you guys right after. Don't go too far. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CCL MW2 launch tournament. I'm Visions, that's Andy. We've had a banger series here so far through the first couple maps, but they have been won by St. Clair, and now they have a chance to put it away. And guess where they can put it away here, Andy? I think you might know.
Oh,
is it happening?
I am so pumped. Crown Raceway in a 4v4 competitive setting. This is gonna get weird, man. Because again, I don't know, because these two teams have been actually respecting GAs. How much practice has actually been played on Crown Raceway, whether it's just been in this tournament specifically, because it is a set map set. We don't have the veto system in play here for this tournament, here for this kickoff. So it's going to get interesting to be able to see, obviously how many pubs have you played to fully understand not only the hardpoint rotations, but also the power spots with this map.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't think we'll get too many more, or potentially not too many more opportunities to cast it, so you can definitely see why we're so excited to get into it, but that's also the other big reason. We just don't know, which way it's kind of going to go, because what prep, what practice do these teams have when it comes down to this map? So this could be a really good chance for UTC to maybe kind of get together and actually start off the reverse sweep. We know they've played very, very close so far. They got heavily outslayed in the very first map we were watching over Hotel, and they were still able to keep that within about 16 points. So, I mean, that's certainly something to be said about what this team's able to do when they're able to win their rotations, when they're able to set up. If we can maybe even get one player start to kind of maybe take over just a little bit, we very well might see a map number 4 here as well, Andy.
In that specific point, somebody to take over on Crown Raceway, it is very easy to lose yourself in Crown Raceway with the amount of flank opportunities that do present itself in a lot of these rotations. Specifically looking from the stretch of 2, 3, and 4. All the different workings that you have of these 3 lanes that are available on Crown Raceway are completely viable for players such as Priestley and Brandon, like what we saw in our hotel map number 1 of Hardpoint, just absolutely run amok for any setup that UTC are looking for. Now, that said, as you already pointed out, that was only a 16-point affair where St. Clair outslayed UTC by a solid, like maybe 15, if not 20 total eliminations. That if UTC can continue to get the setups and they can really play into their hands when they do get the setups at about like 40 seconds worth of time, it could be very difficult to actually peel them off these hard points. P1 in the second set can become a money hill. P2 is also a very difficult hard point to completely break up with how those spawns are working in towards the back, and the same could be said about 4. 3 and 5 are a little scrappy, but those are probably your main hard points where you're going to generate a lot of time.
Definitely. Rotation, just about everything for finding the setup, and like you said, just watching the flank and watching out for Slim as well. I felt like every time we were watching him and Brandon, those two were just always in behind enemy lines, finding a couple multi-kills, opening up points. So we'll see how much of that has kind of been taken note going into this map. But obviously a huge one. We're in the upper bracket. I mean, so far the Saints have clearly put together a really solid roster and really well-rounded. I mean, coming off of the hardpoint and the S&D. But if you can shut down Priestley, hey, maybe you're going to have a shot at being able to extend this series a little bit. And I feel like if UTC can just get one map win kind of under their belt, saying, okay, like that's the start, that's the first one, we can build off of this, we very well might get ourselves a series here. And you want to stay alive in this upper bracket as long as possible.
Yeah, get that pep in your step, right? Because, again, we're not playing control, so this could be a really big regain moment coming through from UTC, one of which is a player that we've been casting for quite a long time, dating all the way back to even the end of the Black Ops 4 year when he was playing for Concord Esports, and that is one player of Red Chase, right? Red Chase is obviously a very easy player to highlight here for UTC. Was a standout player during the Vanguard year, I would definitely say that much. Obviously had a really good amount of help as far as an SMG lineup is concerned, but here in Modern Warfare 2, from what we've seen specifically out of Red Chase, both in the Hotel Hardpoint and the Embassy Search and Destroy, not afraid to get their hands dirty, to pick up that Vaznev 9K and kind of pick up the pace a little bit. I'd probably be keeping a lookout not only for Slim like you were highlighting, but also Red Chase maybe to up the ante a little bit for a lot of these flank opportunities.
Well, let's see what we get here. Kicking it off. 12 come through. Red Chase with the chow is good. Slim follows it up, and that will be early control for UTC right off the rip.
2 SMGs off the rip as well for UTC, just to get this entire area in their favor. This trailer can be very difficult to try to re-break back in your favor with these 2 players set up the way they are for the Mox.
Chauffeur system doesn't come out in time there for Slim. And now Red Chase really backed into a corner. Difficult to fight back there. Jump challenge is good for Brandon. 15 seconds collected off the initial hit. Still 18 up for grabs. And Sonny still figuring out whether or not he wants to try to hit this or not.
Yeah, look at this push that's actually coming through from this left lane, and that's exactly what you got to be looking at. You got P1 in your favor. The trophy system is going to keep Blaze relatively safe inside that area, but you really want to start influencing the spawns ahead of P2. That is still in the favor for the Mox. They hold the rotation. They know exactly where the Saints are coming from.
Brandon on 4. Early streaks may be a factor here. That could be huge for the Saints going into some of the more open hills. Not that we have too many, but a chance to be able to earn them either way. Brandon in the back, pre-fire, comes in, trying to make his way in with a kill, but it will be shut down. 20 up against 31 right now. Still plenty of time to fight for, and well, the spawns in the back look like they are still good for the Saints, but can they get back in the hill?
Yeah, clinical break. I mean, Blaze is playing that one possession over on the backside of the table. That is how you keep those spawns in your favor. The Mox out of UTC completely aware of exactly where they need to be putting themselves, and that's exactly where they are on the mini-map. At least Cardinal, Red Chase were up in that position, maybe try to influence the spawns, but I mean, you've conceded so much time throughout this entire P2 hill to try to make this play happen. You've allowed the Saints to be able to get themselves set up quite comfortably. Now, obviously, Cardinal will be able to contest this back 7 seconds, but rotating in towards P3 in the middle of this garage is where things can get mixy, to say the least.
Red Chase in the hill. Ready, posted up, AR is around him, gonna pop the dead silence, ready to make a play if he has to. And this is one of the more difficult hills sometimes to hold with all the entryways in. It's not easy to stay on time, and Brandon, how about it? He's just come through with a 3-piece. That is going to open things up and buy you quite a bit of time here to bring this one back.
Yeah, very quick 4 down. Brandon with 3 of those 4, and now you're in possession of the garage hardpoint. Still ample time to be fighting over here inside of P3, and this is rather one-dimensionally for UTC for the break attempt coming through from the garage window. It's not really working out. Red Chase, untimely, is now hitting this flank to maybe try to break up the monotony that is the scrap time.
Decent scrap time here, and the Saints have been able to collect the majority of this hill, so UTC struggling with some of the breaks. At least that's what we've seen over the last couple of hills, but they will get in for the scrap time. However, I think St. Clair more than happy to give this up. If we switch over to player 5, Red Chase, as we do, thank you, observers, we'll see exactly what he can do from this position. He doesn't have the AR, but he has the sub, and he's got to be so influential in the back here and see if he can get his teammates to close spawn.
Yeah, Red Chase already found 1 kill. I thought Red Chase was going to hit the flank on the St. Clair Saints window side of the garage, but that wasn't going to be the case at all, as he completely tries to influence the spawns ahead of P4. But I mean, his team was essentially spawning over in Narnia, effectively for P2 as they were hitting for the scrap time. But all these very scrappy gunfights are actually going to go in the favor for the Saints, or for the Mox, excuse me. They will be able to get themselves a semblance of a setup, but Saints knocking at the door.
Knocking at the door. UTC getting time back in their favor. And Red Chase is cutting off the rotators right off spawn. Beautiful place from him. He will be sniffed out, but that's great information for the setup currently inside of the point. How much more can UTC get away with right now? Blaze up top won't be able to find any kind of line of sight. And how about it? Another lead change. If there's something we know about these two teams, they love to go back and forth. They love to keep it tight. And UTC will have just a marginal lead going into the next hill.
And now we go over towards P5, over by those tire racks, which surprisingly are all wall bangable. So you have to be very mindful where you are set up at. Trophy systems are in play here for the Saints, so Brandon really has a lot of work to cut out for themselves. The flank will at least be secured. Teammates still spawning in. But this is going to be a 2-pronged attempt to break up this hill for the Mox.
Realize, ready to cut off some more players. Dump Chow's good. First one will come through. Good support here onto Blaze in the middle of the map, and you can control mid. It makes it a lot easier to stay alive on the hill, and yeah, the trades are just coming in beautifully right now. Sunny needs to try to make a really big hero moment, you feel like, right now with 30 seconds left on the point, but it is just not coming to life for UTC on this P5 hill. Realize it's just lined up 3. That puts him on 4 in a row, 13-6, and this is just about a full hold here for the Saints.
Yeah, because of those close P2 spawns, I mean, the Saints have effectively turned P5 into their money hill. I mean, this is about to be a full 60, all in their favor. Brandon has not left this hard point since it has popped, still sitting at 13-6, going in towards the second set of hard points. Priest is going to pop that silence. He will be gunned inside of that trailer by Red Chase, setting themselves up for P1. You need a respectable answer here if you are UTC. You're finding a lot of good rotational gunfights. You'll be here for the initial 20.
Brandon finds one. His teammates now rallied together. Everyone's setting up for the break. Trophy systems now in. Gunfights need to be here for UTC. First one is there. Next one in. Priestley finds the gunfight, able to beam the first, and Red Chase now needs to make up for quite a bit, but do they know that he's in the contest spot kind of close? He has a chance to line up a couple, and that's going to be one. That's going to be the second from Cardinal. It's a team kill from Sunny, unfortunately, but he's able to make up for it. He'll take out Priestley, and UTC still able to maintain some of this control.
What is happening in here? Sunny just dolphin diving over by the oven. Gotta be very careful over here. There are live gunshots happening. Realize for the 1v1, for the scrap time, we'll end up taking down Sunny. Had some help there from Brandon. back 10 seconds will be soaked up here for the Saints. But again, UTC, much like what we saw in the first set, completely okay with conceding that space, but they need, and again, emphatically saying, need to get this set up inside of P2. You already have Blaz influencing this position on the south side of P2. Going to be looking for a very early break, potentially. Had no help there, so very easy kill here for Red Chase, set up inside the hill.
Here we go on the break. St. Clair been so good at just slaying out here in a lot of these situations, and that's mainly this map from Brandon and Realize. Can they get in here? Blaze and Priestley able to find a couple gunfights. 35 seconds to fight for. Plenty of time, and UTC have been able to close that gap, but finally able to get in for a quick second was the Saints. They won't maintain control. Next player in will be Slim off the spawn, but he's got more work to try to do.
Oh, Slim. Nice jump. Chow will end up keeping the back 20 seconds maybe in the favor for UTC. Looking like Blaz maybe wants to make an argument for it. These last 1v1s for the scrap time could honestly make or break how this map might end up going, but Red Chase will be there for at least the help. Not exactly a long rotation from 2 to 3, but I love what I'm seeing from the Mox on the minimap. Trying to influence that last garage hallway is going to be Sunny, trying to find these very influential gunfights, and well, those are quick 2 kills that come in the way for the Mox. It'll keep Saints reeling just a bit, as UTC will find the transitional gunfights and get the setup early here, 3.
Nice pinch play coming through. Sunny waits patiently for the information, pops the dead silence, finds the 2-piece. That clears space, and that gives UTC now a chance to actually run away with a bit of a lead. Another gunfight, also won. That's going to be huge here for stopping a lot of the pressure, at least coming through simultaneously for the Saints. But they're, again, already as a 4-man unit trying to break on through. But are they going to read the pinch? It doesn't matter. Everyone's winning gunfights.
Yeah, big 2-piece there at the end for Cardinal. Now finds themselves on 4 in a row. 2 more kills. You're going to get yourself a nice little streak there. Looks like that they're working with a precision airstrike rather than the cruise missile, so that we don't have to worry about the trophy system. Doesn't matter anyway. It's all speculation. Brandon works their way in, clears out Cardinal from that spree, plus any trophy system to keep themselves inside of this hard point. Back 10 seconds will make this just about a 20-point affair, but Red Chase has been absolutely lights out, Austin, so far throughout the entirety of this hard point. Being the route man, playing the selfless role, putting themselves in positions to really try to make the Saints uncomfortable during these rotations, but they want nothing to do with that P1 lane. Realize is already in the back.
There we go. Realize in the back. Oh, we can't come up with anything. Sunny does a great job of neutralizing the play, and that means the close spawn should still be here for UTC as they have climbed well over 200 points. The St. Clair needs to try to break in now. You feel like too much of this time going over might just mean we're going to see a map number 4, but from the front, they just cannot find a break. They can't find a window to get in. If they can keep them off the time, great, but the setup and the spawns are still looking good up until Brandon gets in with a double, but is it going to be enough?
Need more. You got to have it here, and I mean, Blaz just kind of frolics his way from that half wall and just tries to contest that time. That is just never going to work. 2:30 and counting on up. This is going to be striking distance for UTC to put it out, so long as they can win the rotation. Look at where they're positioned on the minimap as well, Austin. They're already set up just outside of the garage. Brandon's trying to influence the rotation. Won't be able to get the trophy system down to set themselves early. It is a clean kill feed for UTC. 8 points required.
Oh, they started off slow, but they have just taken full control. A few more seconds to put this one away. Cardinal wins that gunfight. Doesn't slip into the hill, and Brandon now forced to try to go big here in the final seconds, and, well, it looks like it's not going to end just yet. Still one more player on the hill, but the teammates close by for the Saints. Last one will drop, and, well, the Saints are going to hold on here just barely.
Got a trophy system in play as well. Cardinal might be looking for a couple wallbang opportunities here, waiting for the regen first. Semtex actually kind of slips on by, but the trophy system will finally soak it up. This is kind of like a pick-and-choose moment here. You only need 2 seconds if you are UTC. You don't need to win it here, but they'll force their hand through the front side of the hard point. They'll find the kills required, and they'll get it done there on P5 at the end of the rotation. 250 to 187. Big bounce back there after the full 60 came through in the first set of hard points for St. Clair.
Absolutely huge to come through, and you see the final kill. Nice little dolphin dive. Red Chase takes the gunfight, and there's the last couple seconds. So very well done here. 250 to 187, and this is exactly what we framed up, right, Andy? They just needed to find maybe that first map win, and I feel like that one was one of the more convincing ones that at least we have seen so far in the series, and it came down to some great control and some great setups playing off one another with the trades.
Yeah, again, all those trades coming all the way through, but those trades don't happen if step 1 isn't Red Chase playing that selfless role, again, being the route man. Now, I talked about it going into Raceway, specifically for Red Chase, of what we got to see from Hotel and Embassy. It seems that Red Chase is really taking to heart this AR flex role and played, I want to say, 98% of that map with the Vaznev 9K. Just running routes, putting themselves in contest one-for-one positions, sometimes walking away with 2-3 pieces, influencing the rotation time and time again for the Mox, making sure that the Saints didn't have all the numbers required to make a stall-worthy break. It was a tremendous adaptation compared to what we saw from Hotel, because again, if the Mox get into a hard point from what we saw from Hotel and now Raceway, they are seemingly very annoying and difficult to break up because they are constantly playing for the spawns. They're constantly playing for the future. And as you already pointed out there at the end, the trades were just that much better of the Mox camp.
Absolutely will. We'll take a look at the scoreboard here, and I think it was Cardinal. It was Cardinal here. Just huge amount of time inside of the hill while still putting up, 20 kills right behind Red Chase there for as far as eliminations, and just really sitting alive and just staying alive inside of the point while his teammates kind of slay in and around him, also making a lot of those rotational plays alongside Red Chase. But that's what we needed to see. We needed to see this UTC roster come out, match some of the slaying, as well as lock in those setups that they weren't always doing on Hotel. And now that they have, Andy, well, we got ourselves a best of 5.
Yeah, we got ourselves a little bit of a series here, at least extending towards a map number 4. I will say this much, though. Priestley was almost a not benefactor coming through from that series. 20 seconds worth of hard point time, only 2 kills within the hill, as well as just 11 kills overall. Double negative from Priestley, I would say uncharacteristic, to say the least. But hey, that's exactly what it looks like when UTC are playing absolutely lights out. I mean, even Red Chase, 46 seconds worth of hill time, but 8 eliminations within the hill really just goes to show just how proactive Red Chase specifically was playing throughout that map, making sure that the setups, the flanks were never really there entirely for the Saints. But yeah, I mean, we got ourselves a little bit of a series coming through for us, Austin, and again, because we're not playing control throughout this best of 5 series, that's why we had a hard point for map number 3. We're gonna be staying on the mode, but this time we're going to Al-Bagra Fortress. We want to talk about a map that can get mixy very, very quickly, especially through the middle of the map. You're in store for it.
Yeah, we certainly are. Going over towards Fortress to see if the hardpoint trend could potentially continue. I think this one is a little bit more friendly for a lot of the sub players, at least. You're able to get into some closer range gun battles, but we know P3 is kind of one of those hills where you have to lock it in once you're back there, but you also got to make sure that you're not trapped in. So really kind of making sure your teamwork is on point for a map like Fortress, I feel like, is just so critical. Communication's got to be absolutely on point, but this is one of the more fun hardpoint maps that can get very spicy very fast, and it's so fitting for this series, Andy, because just about every single hardpoint we've had so far has went back and forth, with lead changes, lead swaps, probably like 4, 5, 6 times, especially throughout that map number 1. So very closely contested opponents here up against one another, and we'll see if UTC can, again, find this map and get us to a potential map number 5 to see the second search and destroy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, to point out that specifically, I mean, you just saw in that best of 5 overview that, map number 1 was a 16-point affair. Round 11, search and destroy. That Crown Raceway hardpoint was the biggest point deficit that we had, score deficit, I should say, within the 3 maps that have been played here in our first match here on the Modern Warfare 2 kickoff. And Fortress, yeah, I think it's going to deliver all of that flexibility of what we saw from these 2 teams so far within the initial 2 maps. Obviously, no sniper in play, I'm sure, for Sunny, as much as he would like to pull it out. It's not going to be viable here, but there is a lot of points in time through this map specifically that all 5 hardpoints, honestly, Austin, can really become a money hill.
Yeah.
I mean, barring maybe P1 through the multiple sets of hard points, but if you can get a player inside that truck with the trophy system in hand and the crosses being looked at in the middle of the map, hell, even P1, you can probably generate about like 30, 40 seconds or so, but the crossfires and the setups and at least all of the nuances that are along with these 2 main buildings here on the Fortress map can be played to such a high degree to really influence every single rotation, every single gunfight, every single hard point for a clear-cut victory. Exactly,
and you mentioned just how strong those setups, can be, and that's what is so important about kind of being like that flank player. We saw it a lot, from Red Chase, just kind of being the rotational guy from the last map, and you need that again here if you're UTC. You need to be able to get behind enemy lines. When Priestley's not setting up and kind of using his AR advantage, and he's not putting up those slaying numbers, that's when you might be able to slowly sleep in and try to take that map win. And we'll see if they're going to be able to do it, because if you can shut down Priestley, then again, maybe you go to the search and destroy. But we'll see if we can do it. Map looks like it's just about to load in. This has been a spicy one if you're just tuning in, man. I mean, these 2 have really just put on a hell of a performance to kind of kick off this stream for us. You could not ask for a better way to kick off our CCL MW2 launch tournament. But here we go. Map number 4. Let's jump right in.
Oh, this is going to get a little weird here, Austin. I just feel it. Feel it in my man bun. It's going to get a little strange. I mean, starting off on the favorite side, if you could even call that, is technically UTC. But, I mean, Blaz up top in the double windows. Make sure that Cardinal cannot get set up in that green balcony. Not too free freely, but still UTC winning enough gunfights, at least off the rip, to get set up inside the time.
Realize from the side, he knows one's located at the back here. He's got a great read on it. Gonna take the initial chow, but Chase is just gonna play his life as long as possible in that situation. No, he's getting sandwiched. A nice little Vesnov comes out here. Realize takes the gunfight head on, and now this is where you have to be a little bit scared about this rotation. 15 seconds left. Everything matters about this close spawn in the back.
I mean, Realize pushed inside the top green, and that's exactly what comes through. You're right to point out. Look at the spawns that did come through inside of Art in favor of UTC. That is a little bit of a mishap that you cannot allow to have happen, especially in the early stages here of a Fortress Hardpoint. Red Chase is just going to play the double doors. He's going to wait for that first chow to come through. Very untimely at that. Where's that challenge? And UTC will get gifted a setup.
Oh, the setup from Sunny. Oh, how about it? 1, 2, and 3. Does Sunny get all 4? Last one. Will be able to take him out. Not ready for the challenge inside the door. But boy, oh boy, what a moment there for Sunny to shut down the spawns. But Brandon has still been able to sneak through the window in the back and will be able to actually get out with his life. Regen is off, but won't give away his angle. And that means that Sunny continues to go on a tear while this happens. Time has been accumulated, but finally, Blaze able to break in.
Yeah, they brute forced their way in. Thanks for getting Art in their control. Slim is now going to snap onto the bush. Nobody was in there. Sunny playing on the back staircase. Will at least find one, but still has a lot more work to do.
No.
And Sunny has number 3 again, right in front. Picks up another M4. Goes for the challenge and will completely take Priestley down inside the open archway. We'll be able to get that scrap time in their favor. It took a little bit more of an effort, but their teammates on the opposite side of the map going over towards this staircase is Red Chasers trying to play their life, trying to influence the rotation anew.
Oh my goodness. This is beautiful hardpoint from UTC right now. Not easy to break into this P3 setup, but they have done it with ease. Now they just have to hold on. Brandon down low. Has been able to find one, but he doesn't have the full regen. Now he's ready to take another gunfight. While this happens, UTC, they got Red Chase in the back, and he's ready to spoil the entire play. First one up top, shots come through. Team shots are able to get the first one in, and Priestley's finally able to get involved. Blaze gets another, and there it is. The Saints will recover, and they will find the break.
Red Chase had the read onto the second player up top on that walkway, but I mean, the trust and the discretion, I would say, or discipline, rather, would probably be the better word to use there for the Saints on that break through the double doors, just making sure that everybody was at least staying safe. Battle for that scrap time, and much-needed scrap time at that as we take a look at the rotation going over towards Art. Now, UTC will have the spawns. Team nade from Slim on a Red Chase is going to help your cause, but if you deal with Brandon towards the back, which you do, you will at least be able to guarantee yourself this initial time.
Red Chase comes off spawn, picks up the right. He's got one more to try to get through, and he's going to get info. Priestley just going to have to try to hold on to this lane before his teammates can finally get in position to maybe collapse, but instead wants to attack this from the right side of P2. Everyone starting to coordinate the hit. Gunfights just need to be won. Brandon will deliver on the first. Priestley just still trying to find that angle to actually find anybody as they're just finessing, and well, Slim finesses long enough. 2 kills come in. UTC still building up this lead.
I love Sunny's position through the entirety of this hardpoint so far. Just finding value over by the double stairs and puts themselves in an even better position with an M4 up in the rail position of this map. I mean, just look at Cardinal up there now as well. That is the best spot to potentially be in to overwatch the entire team trying to break on in for the Saints. 40-point goes the lead. Scrap time will be conceded for UTC again because they do have the spawns ahead of Noob. Priestley, completely aware of the situation at hand, needs to get set up here in the Forge early.
68 to 102. The Saints gonna have to try and get some solid time here around the point. Well, they got the zoning. They have great positioning. Priestley just waiting for this challenge to come through the P3 doors if they dare. But everyone now starting to set up and collapse through the middle of the map. Blaze is going to have a great cutoff here from this bottom position, and you can see how difficult it can be to work through some of these gunfights at the moment. Nades and stuns not taking Priestley out of the point, but we will now have a contest spot, and finally they'll be able to weave themselves in.
Sunny, again, just contesting it from that one annoying position, just trying to set up their teammates and maybe try to contest this from bottom green. And, well, the gunfights might just be coming their way, but the trades are that much better for UTC as Red Chase finds 2. Cardinal for the last. They'll be able to win the final gunfight to be able to get this last 10 seconds. But I gotta say, Saints did a great job, as you were talking about that setup, keeping Priestley alive on the anvil itself. Able to get themselves right back into this game. We're gonna have a 20-point affair, more or less, going in towards the second set.
We certainly will. Blaze zoning from the side. Oh, will not win the battle. Red Chase finds 2, popping out of the building, and Now Priestley's going to have to try to do some recovery here. Knows the close spawn in the back is right by P2. Going to get the information, pops a dead silence, and now might try to set up the break here. Meanwhile, all this time has been going for free. Priestley, can he get into the back with a pistol? Yes, he can. He does it himself. Brandon's now in with him, and the break will be solid.
The break will be solid, so now you can start looking at the rotation over towards 2. I know it's a little bit early, but you want to start threatening over by that closed doorway and maybe try to get a player inside of Art. Two-pronged affair just is only coming up in favor of at least one. Realize has to play that position, get sniffed out by Cardinal. But P1 is still being contested here. UTC do not want the Saints to soak up all of this time. It could just be annoying here with this leader's advantage, knowing that they have the close spawns for 2, plus soaking up the scrap time here at 1.
And the slaying has just been totally different this time around for UTC. You can see it, Sunny 16 and 8, Red Chase 17 kills, Cardinal 15 kills. Everybody very much involved. And we'll see if they can now lock in the setup. Priestley down low. Nade's going to go out, and, well, his teammates are going to find a couple kills, and this should now give them the green light to try to break on through. You can see it happening in the back, and that's going to be the case. So spawns are going to flip out. Red Chase, the last one left alive, going to have to get a lot of work done as everybody just starts swarming around him. Getting 2 would be incredible from this position, but he's only able to get 1. The trade is there, but however, it's still the Saints that are able to lock in some of this time.
Yeah, tip your hat to Brandon during that entire affair that was manifesting on the backside of P2. Brandon was playing over by P5 and was just waiting for the cross, but Sunny was able to get themselves a streak. Is going to call in that cruise. Will only find 1. This will allow Slum to maybe soak up the back 15 seconds, barring any Brandon heroics. In this very scrappy 1v1, we'll take a look at the rotation over towards New. Already being threatened actually through the double doors, but again, it is that very one-dimensional affair that you have to be careful of your UTC to lose a lot of these gunfights early and allow St. Clair Saints to soak up time here at New.
Oh, I don't like how fast they attack that there. You got to wait for your teammates. You got to coordinate every single angle and break in together. And now Brandon's going to be able to get a forward position, and now it's going to slow him down again. He does drop the gunfire there a little bit too early, but he's at least still able to cut away 1. And now they have an idea on where this attack is about to unfold from. Priestley, AR set up, finds a head, finds a second. Oh my goodness. Priestley, is he going to get a third? He is being attacked from up top, down low, but the man is still somehow alive in the hill. Money Hill truly coming to life here as it looks like the Saints might be good for a full 60, and that should be the case.
Yeah, Priestley, again, this is what makes this such a good money hill. You can just sit on top of that fountain, just kind of throw shoulders when it's required, and, I mean, the moment that you know the flood is coming, you just throw your entire body at them, just ADS with the M4, and just rip their heads asunder. Fantastic hill coming through for the Saints. They will take the lead for the first time in this Fortress Hardpoint, what felt like an eternity ago. 181 to 173. The rotation isn't really all there for UTC. You still have players spawning in close here for the Saints.
Blaze gets one in the back, and all of a sudden focus turns to the back, and that opens up a window for Realize to say, what's up top? He'll find 2. Red Chase needs to try to get in there, but he's not going to be able to find any kind of a trade. So Hill neutral, at least for the time being. Now the Saints going to throw themselves in. Sunny trying to do his best to deal with the players up top, but it is so difficult to break this setup from the front. Yeah,
exactly that. It's Realize as well as Brandon up top rails that you need to deal with first and foremost. So that's where you're starting to see Sunny trying to push way up through the upstairs. Actually gets this favor this position in their favor, excuse me. But where's the help? Sunny's the only one that's alive over here, and UTC, I mean, they're spawning out all the way in Narnia. We're down to 10 seconds left alive inside of P4. You got to chalk and rotate over towards New. The hesitation bites UTC in the rear end. It's seemingly looking like Saints should have the setup here, but the scrappy gunfights still very much so in play.
This was the hill where St. Clair started to bring this one back and have now built themselves up a 12-point lead. Blaze got an excellent position here from the staircase heady, and that's going to allow the Saints to move into the hardpoint with ease. Everyone now starting to move through P2 at the moment for UTC. Gunfight's got to be won. Cardinal's able to get the first, but Blaze has just done an excellent job zoning in between the tunnel as well as the doubled wooden doors. With the stuns and nades starting to pour through, trophy system comes up just in time. Realize they still just sat here nice and pretty, soaking up all of the hard points. I'm on P5.
Well, they can't win it here. UTC more than aware of that specific situation at hand, but this P5 with 20 seconds soaking up, striking distance for the Saints to get one good break going in towards P1. One good setup is all they need, and Blaze is setting themselves up wonderfully for it as well. Had a good look to maybe get themselves kill number 4 in a row. Will be traded out here. 230 to 182. Going in towards the final set of hard points. Brandon already posted in the truck.
If you can keep control of the left side of the map, that could be your window to chaining P1 and P2 and still getting us to a map number 5. But you're going to have to deal with Brandon and Priestley and Realize all around the point. 10 seconds away from getting the win. Gunfights are still being won here for the Saints. One final attempt to try to get into the hard point, and Priestley says no, as that will be the Saints closing out the first round on the day in 3-1 fashion.
I mean, that is just absurd when you really think about it, right? It really does come down to a lot of those flanks and being exploited by the Saints at the tail end of that second set of hardpoints. There was no reason whatsoever for UTC when they were getting those stage spawns for P2 ahead of the P4 rotation that you should have had a player on the backside of the upstairs. You should have been more than aware that that big flank could absolutely upset any P4 setup or shenanigans that the mocks from UTC were desiring for themselves. But the Saints, they exploit it, much like what we saw in Hotel, really to such a high degree. The slaying soon to follow through at the end of that second set of hard points. They get the P4 to P5 rotation, where they seemingly, I want to say, about 120 seconds worth of their 250 score line was mostly scored off of P5, about 120 seconds worth of P5. They also got that full 60 off of P3. It's just the bounce back that is there from the Saints that surprises us every single year, that this team absolutely has the ice to bring themselves back from what was about like a 45-point deficit in that hard point.
Certainly. And I mean, that P3 break that the Saints found the first time around in the first set of rotations, I mean, for me, that was where everything started to shift at least a little bit, where once you break a setup like that, it just feels so good because you know how difficult it is to do. And I'm sure they've spent scrims and scrims just figuring out how we're going to do it, how we're going to approach it. So when it finally comes together, it's got to feel absolutely amazing. And that's certainly where you could start to see everything change around there for St. Clair. But we'll take another look at the scoreboard here. And as much as we were gassing up Priestley, it felt like everybody across the board was involved, Andy.
Yeah, no, they really were. I mean, Priestley 26 and 21 actually bounced back themselves from a very steep deficit as far as the kill-death ratio is concerned, and also got about 2 minutes worth of hardpoint time. 6 objective kills to boot inside of the hill itself, but it needs to be talked about. You know, Realize being picked up. This is actually a LATAM pickup for St. Clair of Realize, and you can see it just absolutely paying dividends. 30 and 22. 5 kills total traded throughout the entirety of that map. 3,300 damage just shortly behind Blaze's 3,396. You really did feel like that UTC just had everything in the tank to maybe try to get this map number 4 in their favor and force a Crown Raceway Search and Destroy map number 5, but they kind of fell off through that second set of hard points. I mean, Sunny had a fantastic performance, 3,600 damage, 25 and 18, was putting up very, very good numbers, but Red Chase was starting to get sniffed out a little bit, trying to find these certain flanks, these certain timings with the Vaznev, and once that all completely fell down, you know, it was mostly just Sunny and Cardinal trying to contest for some scrap time, just being disjointed, not by choice, but being forcefully disjointed by St. Clair Saints in their fantastic teamwork.
Well, the Saints are going to move on, and well, of course, UTC going to have to try to bounce back and battle from that lower bracket. Won't be a bit before they play again. A lot of matches to complete down there, but overall, this is definitely a squad that I think will have potential to be able to make some kind of a run down there in the lower bracket if they can piece together some of their endgame moments. But that is going to do it for now, ladies and gentlemen. That was our very first series, and it was an absolute barn burner, and well, we got a lot more for you on the day, so we'll take a small break, and we'll come back, and we got more Call of Duty action coming up after the break.